If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.
At Blinds.com, it's not just about window treatments. It's about you, your style, your space, your way. Whether you DIY or want the pros to handle it all, you'll have the confidence of knowing it's done right. From free expert design help to our 100% satisfaction guarantee, everything we do is made to fit your life and your windows. Because at Blinds.com, the only thing we treat better than windows is you. Visit Blinds.com now for up to 50% off site-wide, plus a professional measure at no cost. Rules and restrictions apply.
Well, Sunday morning, let's go up to Canada. And with us today is the Premier Doug Ford, and he is the Premier of Canada's one of the most industrious provinces, the Premier of Ontario. And, Premier Ford, there was some talks going on between your Prime Minister and President Trump last week. Can you give us an update on what you think is going on, and are we making progress to having love between our two countries?
Well, John, first of all, thanks so much for having me on. I think there's a lot of love still amongst Canadians and Americans. I always start off by saying I love America. I love the American people, and so do Canadians. And I think it's just a discussion between the Prime Minister and President Trump. I think the message we're trying to get through to President Trump is we're stronger together. And, when you look at trade deficits around the world, I understand what President Trump's doing, but Canada is not the problem. The largest contributors to the U.S. trade deficit are two countries, China and Mexico, with a combined deficit of $1.2 trillion. And when if we take away the oil that we ship down at a discount, the U.S. has a $60 billion surplus. Or if we look at the automotive sector, we buy more vehicles, 400% more than any other country in the world. And I just got a quote here from the Center of Automotive Research, and they found that the tariffs in the auto sector will raise the cost on U.S. automakers by $107.7 billion U.S. dollars in 2025, and the tariffs on the average American will increase the cost of U.S. households by over $2,400. I think that's a conservative estimate. And you've seen what's happening to the manufacturing employment in the U.S. has declined 5 months in a row with over 78,000 fewer jobs than they did a year ago. Protectionism does not work, especially with your closest friend and ally. The easiest way we get the economy moving and we continue being the wealthiest and greatest two countries in the world, just get rid of the tariffs on Canada. We're part of the family. And when we have a strong Canada, you have a strong U.S., and it's the rest of the world we have to take on, not each other. And that's kind of our philosophy. I think the meeting went well. They're building a relationship. And as you know, as a business person, John, and the president knows, and our prime minister, it's about building a relationship and making sure that everyone moves forward in a prosperous way. So that's kind of where we're at.
Well, knowing you, and you're a truly a honest person, and I've enjoyed talking to you these past few years. And I know Trump for a very long time too, President Trump.
Yes.
And
yes.
He was coming in as president. He was challenged with a lot of unfair deals around the world. So what he wants to do is try to level the playing field a little bit, and I guess that's open to negotiation. And I'm not privy to the finite details.
Yes.
Are we making progress to making a fair deal for both sides?
I believe we are, but time will tell. And again, I understand what President Trump's doing. When you have a trade deficit of $1.2 trillion with two countries, I'd do the same thing. But it comes down to Canada that strengthens the economy on both sides of the border, and the U.S. does here, and we do in the U.S. I always want to remind our great American friends, we're your largest customer in the world. Not Mexico, not China. We buy more products, $356 billion off the U.S. every single year. In Ontario alone, we do $500 billion a two-way trade. We directly employ 9 million Americans. Now, when you go after the auto sector, it's like closing down 6 auto plants because parts will go back and forth 8 times. And we aren't the problem. We buy more autos off the U.S. than anywhere in the world, close to 850,000 vehicles. So we need to get a deal. We need to focus on I call it the AmCan Fortress, American-Canadian Fortress. And we have the critical minerals. We have the energy that you need. We have the uranium and the potash. There's so many things we bring to the table that we can be stronger. Well, China is cutting the Americans off on their rare earth minerals, critical minerals. There's one country that you can rely on, and that's your Canadian friends north of the border here.
Well, we always have a great relationship with Canada. I personally have a great relationship with Canada. The only slight non-relationship was with one of your agencies, but that's, we're dealing with it, and we have to deal with it like we all have to deal with it. But
that's the problem.
And we deal with it every day. And anything else you want to tell the American people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Premier Ford.
I just want to say, let's get a deal together. Let's continue to become the strongest nations in the world. Protect ourselves against China, which is a massive threat right now to both countries. And no one can stop us if we work together. That's the message to the American people. I'm running an ad, by the way, down in the U.S., right across the board. I sent you a copy of it. And it's a clip from Ronald Reagan, which I believe is the greatest president ever. He talked about protectionism that does not work. And the people in the U.S. are going to see these ads run all across the country. And I got to make sure we get an ad running on your network.
Well, thank you so much, and looking forward to having more discussions and getting our relationships closer together. And God bless you. When I say God bless America, I mean Canada and the United States. And let's catch up again real soon.
John, I agree. God bless America. God bless Canada. Let's work together and get this done. And I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
If you're looking to create, grow, and sustain your wealth, download and subscribe to the Pain Points of Wealth podcast at BeBullish.com with Bob, Ryan, and Chris Payne. It's your podcast for market insights, money tips, and real talk on the economy. Download and subscribe at BeBullish.com.